Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about why activating your inner guru is the next step in your empowerment journey or your healing journey or building your business or wherever you are right now. And this will be crucial for having more success, fulfillment, and contentment in your life, your business, or your relationships without constantly landing in burnout. Now, I say we are entering the age of the inner guru, and the inner guru is led by individuality, intention, and intuition. And so these are very feminine gifts that are awakening. And then we must learn to rebalance it with our masculine side. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the 4 main ways that you can identify at what stage of activating your inner guru you are at and whether you have a dysfunctional masculine or feminine block that is stopping you from stepping into your inner guru. For millennia, humans have looked to the outer world to understand it and find their place in it to give their life meaning and purpose. And it's interesting how that we have constantly developed systems and rules and frameworks to live by across all types of religions. Some gods were in the sky, some gods were in the trees and the suns. But we have always used these kind of frameworks or these set rules or beliefs to understand ourselves and to find purpose and meaning, to give our lives validation. Now, the inner guru gives themselves their own validation. But now we are moving deeper into the layers of self. And this is what is awakening the inner guru. Now, the inner guru knows how to find its own definitions and systems and meaning and purpose through itself. Now, all of these systems are very useful for helping us understand what works best for us. The only danger comes when you start following somebody else's story and you stop writing your own original story. And this is a concept I introduced in my 10-day storytelling challenge, and you can go through that at any time. But the basic concept of it is that everybody needs to write their original story. All of these external gurus and religions and systems and 3-year plans and the 9-to-5 day and the to-do list, all of these must become sources and points of reference that you can test and experiment so that you then can put it together in your very unique way to write your original story. If you are following someone else's system, then you are following someone else's story. Now, the reason that no one system can work for everybody is because they tend to be one-fits-all systems, but everybody is genetically unique. Everybody functions in a very different way. These references and frameworks and all of these things can be very useful to help you understand and write what is your original story. And when you are living your original story, this is when you activate your inner guru. And this can be used as a way to heal certain symptoms such as overthinking, decision anxiety, self-doubt, constantly second-guessing yourself, being codependent on other people's approval and permission and validation. And this is crucial for reducing burnout and having optimal success in all areas of your life. I'm always reminded here of Osho's Zen card, which is titled Schizophrenia. And Osho talks about how any time that we are in two minds, it creates a kind of schizophrenia, this or that. Should I do this? Should I do that? And this is a sign that you are not living your original story or in your inner guru, that you are not just being the person that you are, living the one life that you can live. This schizophrenia or these two minds usually come up when one side of you, usually the internal side, is saying, I want this. This is truly what I want to do, or this is who I am. But then there's a conflict with the mind saying, but you shouldn't do that. Do you know if this is going to work out? Are you sure this is going to be profitable? Have you even tried this before? There's a conflict with what you should do or what someone else told you to do or what framework that you should follow. And this is where we get these two minds. This is the sign that your inner guru and your external guru are fighting with each other. So we want to get out of this two minds and activate the inner guru. Now, the inner guru is led by the feminine. Now, we have been taught mostly that the masculine should lead, that the masculine will build more security and certainty, or that we should wait until we've built the certainty or security before acting. So often we'll look at what's the best plan, or what's going to make the most money, or what's going to ensure my security, and then we try to build that. But when we lead with the masculine, 6 months later, a year later, if it doesn't match our feminine side, then you're going to start to feel burnout, lack of passion, dull, great, frustrated. It's not going to light you up anymore. You're not going to be excited about it. Or it's not going to be using your best gifts and you're just pushing and forcing and hustling. So this is what creates so much burnout. The feminine is meant to lead. You are meant to ask yourself, what am I best at? What are my natural gifts? What am I passionate about? What are my best ideas and innovation? First, we start with the input, the intangible side of ourselves, the conceptualizing, the creativity, the emotional and energetic resonance, what feels good to you, what is easy for you. These are the questions we need to ask first. When the feminine is clear, then it knows exactly how to direct the masculine to build something that is 100% aligned, to build and create the plans and the strategies and bring the input and the ideas and the intangible concepts into the outer world. So when the feminine leads, you are going to build better masculine foundations that will last longer. So we need to lead with our feminine. The inner guru needs to be in charge so that then we can see exactly which systems, which masculine systems, which external gurus, which frameworks work for us or help us bring the feminine side alive or help us activate the inner guru and bring it into our outer world. Now, the problem is that we haven't really been taught how to lead with the feminine and what that looks like. And this is really what is happening now. People call it by many different names. It's their midlife crisis, their awakening, their breakdown, their breakthrough. Whatever you call it, it is the feminine awakening. It is the feminine saying, I can't do this anymore. This is burning me out. This doesn't bring me passion. So we can see that when we lead with the masculine, at some point, it's not going to be aligned. So we need to switch to lead with the feminine. However, there are many things that stop us from stepping into the feminine side. We haven't really learnt how to do this, and there are lots of blocks that stop us from even understanding how to awaken the feminine. And this is exactly what I am teaching over the next 3 months. And I really hope that you join me on the entire journey. First, I'm doing an initiation. It is Find Your Fuck Queen Flow. And then we're going to step into the deeper work of taking your heroine's journey and going through each of the 8 steps of the full heroine's journey when we balance the masculine with the feminine. And I can guarantee that this will help you fix so many symptoms that you might be experiencing right now. Like I said, such as that overthinking, the anxiety, the decision overwhelm, the self-doubt, the constant second guessing, the codependency, needing external validation. And this has also been a path for me to heal OCD, manage ADHD, heal autoimmune diseases, and find more flow and ease with my energetic waves and to reduce daily burnout. So, what are the 4 main blocks that stop you from activating your inner guru? And I'm going to go into this in a lot more detail in the 4-week program that I'm doing, Find Your Fuck Queen Flow. And by the end of that, you are going to initiate your inner guru journey. Now, the 4-step process to awakening your inner guru or to analyze whereabouts you are in the process of awakening the inner guru, we first start with identifying where you have the dysfunctional feminine and the dysfunctional masculine. Now, what I see often is that everybody has a little bit of both, and everybody needs to find their unique mix of when to step into the feminine and when to step into the masculine. And this is why I teach it in a very different way. You can't be told what is your unique mix. You have to find it. And part of that will come through experimentation. But first, you need to identify where you have the dysfunctional behaviors. Now, the dysfunctional feminine shows up a lot if you don't trust your feminine side and your feminine voice and your feminine gifts. So this is where we see a lot of that self-doubt and anxiety and not trusting your intuitive messages or not being able to adequately read the sensorial and the intuitive messages that you are constantly receiving. And science shows us how we are constantly reading and interacting with other people's energy. And even Carl Jung talks about what happens when people who have super perception, if those messages aren't being integrated, it can lead to a lot of that mental health or a breakdown of the insanity. And I'll go into a lot more detail in the Fuck Queen Flow initiation sequence of all the different ways that the dysfunctional feminine can show up in our lives. But that should give you a little clue if you have still some dysfunctional feminine behaviors. And a lot of that is really shown, like I said, in that distrust or not understanding your messages or constantly getting stuck in overthinking and anxiety, especially related to decisions. Now, if you have a dysfunctional masculine, it might be that you got stuck in the feminine side, that you got stuck in the idea creation and the innovation and the intuition, that you actually stopped taking any steps. You actually stopped putting any of that input into output, taking those intangible ideas and making them into something tangible. So this is really crucial. You have to look at where you are, too much in your head or not enough in the action side. And in the first module, when we go through identifying the masculine and feminine blocks, I also do some really great quick exercises on how to see which one is stuck and how to move forward in a very quick way. And this can sometimes be the most easiest and crucial switch just to get unstuck from one of the dysfunctional states and move into the other. Now, the second main block to activating your inner guru is that we have devalued a lot of the feminine gifts. And we see this a lot in our language. We say things like the feminine is wild and it needs to be tamed. Or we often have to label ourselves as witches or woo just to validate that you have these gifts. And I really argue that you don't have to call them magic to be magical. They are inherent gifts that everybody actually has some level that they can do of intuition or instinct or survival. Everybody has these messages. It's just that we have devalued these gifts and we've labeled them as, like I said, that crazy, the woo, the witch wounds. Now, when you revalue your feminine gifts, it is amazing how much you will see that you need to completely change your career or your business. And the other thing is that many of these gifts are so natural to you that you don't even realize that they are profound gifts that nobody else can do. You're just seeing it all the time and you're doing it all the time. It is the most natural thing that you were doing all day long. And when you revalue those gifts, you will see how you start to have way more success and it is much easier to get there. So revaluing your feminine gifts is crucial to activating your inner guru. And when you revalue your feminine gifts, as powerful as your masculine gifts, this is also how you can find your money-making niche. So value is crucial. Now, the third main block is that the inner guru often suffers from rejection sensitivity and the need for external validation. And so we do some exercises to break that through because that is the kind of thing that can only happen with integration. And this is why all of the containers that I do are done with a community and group mentorship. And I really try to lead synergy communities because everybody is a leader. And everybody's stories matter. And when one person tells a story, it might just be the activation that somebody else needs. And the reason that many people don't activate their inner guru, they might have already done steps 1 and 2, but they don't really have a space or a community where they can practice and experiment with their new identity, or that their inner guru can live out loud and have the conversations that they really can't have with other people around them. And this really becomes a big block. And this is why community is so crucial for helping you reduce that rejection sensitivity by being in spaces that are supportive and allow your authentic identity to grow up and to go through all of those learning curves and awkward stages that we all have to go through when growing up, just like we did as teenagers. Your authentic self will go through the same process. Your inner guru will go through the same process. And that is why addressing rejection sensitivity and external validation is so crucial to awakening your inner guru. And the fourth main block is that you need to master your F words. Now, flow is an F word. So is flexibility, fluidity, failure, freedom, fulfillment. All of these F words will become a part of your life now. And this has been a big mistake in the past. And I'm always reminded of this around New Year's time when everyone's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness that last year is over. Now I can't wait to step into the new year. And I always say, stop wishing away your time. The next year will be the same, and the year after that. And this is why I teach a lot about flux theory. If you want to stay in a constant stage of evolution and growth from this day forward, you will go into flux for the rest of your life. You will constantly be up leveling, trying new things and experimenting and failing and sometimes getting it right. There is no kind of level that you get to and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's it. I made it. I'm done now. You will step into constant flow. Flow is an F word. And so the final block is learning how to master your F words. And that will set you up for life so that your inner guru can feel empowered no matter what situation that you are going to throw yourself into. So, those are the four main blocks that stop people from activating their inner guru. So, if this is where you are at with your journey, I want to invite you to join me over these next two programs that I'm running because the group environment is also crucial. When we get enough people together activating the same things, the power of that is even greater. And so I really want to make sure it's also a really aligned group. So if you have any questions, whether it's for you or not, I will also drop a link so you can fill out the application form so I can get in touch and we can have a chat over where you are at. And I love to hear people's stories and what is also working for them. Because as I said, as you are awakening your inner guru, each person's original story is going to be different. And this is why we need to share these stories, because then those stories then become new frameworks for you to test out and to feed your original story as you write it. I am celebrating your journey as we now step into the era of the inner guru, because each one of us needs to be leading from the feminine. We need to be leading from the inner guru. And this is how we change the world.